What key life experiences have formed who you are today?
I think primarily what's driven me to where I am right now, I wanted to be a veterinarian. I wanted to be the president, just a huge long list of things. But once I kind of did my undergraduate in sustainability, that really just shifted my perspective and how I viewed the world and the importance of cities, especially in decision making, which then ultimately led me to doing a master's in community development, which I think also really put me in a unique perspective for community building and community capacity building, which is ultimately where I am now.
That's great. How did you become passionate and involved in our city?
Through that process, I really began to recognize that a lot of these really important decisions about how we live our lives go back to the cities and how they manage their operations and their perspectives. And so really up until that point, I never thought that I would be interested in working for like municipal government in that kind of way, or at least being in that space. But recognizing that a lot of these really key decisions are being made in that space really drove me to kind of understanding the balance between like top down municipal government, triple down decision making, as well as like how can you make community informed decisions as well.
What are your core values and how are they reflected on your work?
Appreciate transparency more than anything else. I think a lot of that ties back to work made. And so that's like transparency and honesty are two things that like I very much value in my personal life, but I think are also incredibly value in my professional life and kind of in that perspective of cities.
City, a great city.
Just for Arizona cities in general, like we are at the precipice of being real solution makers for a lot of pressing climate issues. And I think that uniquely positions us to kind of become a living laboratory for like how do you address issues like extreme heat and um, public transportation. So one great example of that for the city of Phoenix is being having the first office of heat response and mitigation and taking a really active role in addressing such a pressing challenge. And that approach can be very unique compared to other cities. Um,
What causes projects and activities are you involved in and why?
so a lot of my work at the Sustainable Cities Network and even Project Cities, working directly with cities, centers around this cultivating this like regional collaborative approach to decision making and problem solving, like I talked about earlier. And so part of that is recognizing the importance of federal infrastructure funding that's now coming out as a result of the bipartisan infrastructure law.
How do you collaborate with other groups and individuals to realize your impactful work?
Yeah, so I think that goes a lot back to that work group approach that we take, where the way we look at it is meeting communities where they're at. And so we don't direct what kind of information we're sharing. It's really up to the cities to let us know what they're interested in. And so through that, as part of our work group conversations, we'll get participants from cities, but we'll also get participants from federal agencies, state agencies, local nonprofits and community-based organizations, as well as other public agencies like Department of Public Health and flood control and other organizations.
What other creators who are focused on similar causes, projects, and activities have influenced you?
Ooh. Well, I will say that I'm definitely influenced by my director, Anne. um, he helped start the network 15 years ago and really was the first person to interact directly with the communities from a university perspective, point them in the right direction.
Recommend I do to become a future creator of our great city?
Ooh. I mean, I think the key is to consistently be involved. And so even if that's